In a hidden storage unit buried beneath layers of dust and neglect, 12-year-old Noah made his home, enveloped in shadows and solitude that felt both familiar and suffocating. The world outside had seemingly erased him from its memory, a ghost hiding within the creaking walls that had long housed forgotten belongings. In this cramped space, he crafted a sanctuary out of old blankets, draping them over boxes like tattered sails, each one a fragile shield from the harshness of reality. Surrounding him were a few cherished toys, their worn aesthetics telling stories of better days, artifacts of childhood joy sitting uneasily next to the heaviness of abandonment that clouded his heart. Inside a battered cardboard box, he kept his most precious possessions, a collection of drawings and letters from his mother, remnants of a love that once filled their tiny apartment with laughter and warmth. Each piece of art was a vibrant reflection of the bond they shared, a glimpse into happier times before the eviction shattered their world. As he carefully opened the box, the scent of dust mingled with nostalgia, washing over him with bittersweet memories, urging him to dream of brighter tomorrows, even within the confines of his hidden existence. Noah's life before this darkness was tinged with loving memories, though now blurred and fragile. He could faintly recall the smell of his mother's lavender perfume that swirled through their modest home, wrapping around him like a warm hug on sleepless nights. Every moment spent watching cartoons together on a flickering screen echoed the joy of his childhood, their laughter harmonizing with the animated melodies, a sanctuary from the outside world. But that joy crumbled beneath a torrent of misfortune, a cascading series of events that led to their eviction, isolating him in a cold and indifferent world. The voices that once sang reassurance faded, replaced by an overwhelming silence that seeped into the crevices of his soul. He often felt the weight of abandonment seep into his bones like the winter chill that pervaded his hiding place. The day his parents left carved itself into his memory. The creaking sound of the door would haunt him, a constant reminder of the love that had slipped through his fingers, leaving behind a cavern of loneliness. As days blurred into weeks, Noah learned to navigate the treacherous landscape of isolation, forged in the quiet corners of his mind. Yet, he held tightly to the remnants of his childhood, the drawings and letters that encapsulated his mother's love, fragile lifelines in a world that felt overwhelmingly dark. Each piece of art served as a whisper of hope, a reminder that he was still more than the shadows that enveloped him, a boy who once had dreams and a family. Clinging to those fragile artifacts became his way of fending off despair, their vibrant hues a promise that love never truly fades, only lies dormant within the heart, waiting to be rediscovered. As Noah settled deeper into the solitude of his storage unit, time slipped away like grains of sand through his fingers. The days stretched endlessly, each slightly different yet achingly familiar, a cycle of quiet introspection mixed with despair. He often found himself lost in his thoughts, wandering through the dim corridors of his fading memories. The outside world remained a distant echo, a place filled with voices that drowned in his silent reality. But amid this desolation, the box of drawings and letters from his mother stood as his only tether to the past, the only bridge to a time when joy filled their home like sunlight spilling through an open window. Each drawing told a story, the vibrant colors standing in stark contrast to the muted tones of his current existence. Barefoot on the cold concrete floor, he traced the outlines of those images with his fingers, each stroke a reminder of laughter shared, trips to the park, and afternoons spent creating art in the comfort of a loving embrace. With every tear-stained sketch depicting the world through the eyes of a child, he remembered the wonder that characterized his early years, the humble explorations where imagination reigned. But those moments felt like remnants of a foreign land, an echo of a blissful life interrupted by the reality that enveloped him now. The letters, penned in his mother's delicate handwriting, carried the weight of her affection, words woven with the dreams she held for him. Unable to resist, he opened one, a fragile piece of paper that instantly filled the small unit with the warmth of her presence. She spoke of love and resilience, urging him to be strong in the face of adversity, her hopes whispered with each stroke of the pen. Yet with every letter came the poignant reminder of her absence, a stark contrast to the moments when she would envelop him in her arms, the struggle between joy and heartache growing ever more pronounced within the confines of his heart. And so, Noah clung desperately to these artifacts, desperate to capture their essence and breathe life into the colors they once portrayed, each drawing a lifeline that kept him tethered to memories he was determined to never fully lose. In the silence around him, he could feel the potency of those feelings swell within the walls of his makeshift home, compounded by the ever-present threat of oblivion that loomed over him. The act of drawing became not just an outlet, it transformed into a necessity, a way to express the feelings he could not articulate. Each line formed in those quiet moments reflected not only the love he had received, but also the unforgiving pangs of loss lurking beneath the surface. Noah often envisioned what the outside world might look like today. The sunlit skies and sprawling neighborhoods became distant dreams as he stared at the faint square of light that trickled through the cracks beneath the storage unit door. What could it possibly feel like to walk freely among children, to feel the grass beneath his feet? Though fear held him captive, the stifled longing blossomed within him like a flower forcing its way through a crack in the pavement. Memories flickered like candles in his mind. A school playground filled with laughter, the overwhelming joy of camaraderie. Crisp autumn breezes filled with the scent of crunched leaves, yet all remained shrouded behind his fortress of loneliness. As Noah continued to navigate these turbulent thoughts, he felt the prickling sense of longing deepen into a subtle tug of hope. The drawings he nurtured began to transform into expressions of not just what had been lost, but also what could be. Each stroke of his pencil on paper echoed the resilience festering within him, like a tiny seed defying the weight of the earth pressing down. Gradually, the thoughts of despair began to mingle with dreams of belonging. Perhaps there was still a chance for him to step beyond the shadows and find his place within the world, to reconnect with voices that could acknowledge his existence rather than drown him in silence. Days passed, each one blending into the next, a rhythm of survival that felt both monotonous and painfully familiar. But as he reached for a new piece of paper, enveloped by the whispers of his past, Noah felt an inkling of resolve take root. Perhaps he could find a way to share his story, to let those who might be able to help him see the colors that still remained. The flickers of a boy eager to embrace the world beyond the confines of his unit. The thought flourished, sparking a single fragile flame in the cavern of his heart. He began to consider what it might look like to share his drawings, to let others in on the bittersweet tale encapsulated within those lines. Yet, he knew he could not take that leap right away. He had to gather his strength, slowly preparing himself for the unknown. The outside world felt vast and intimidating, filled with uncertainty that both excited and terrified him. He was still just a boy who had been lost but was beginning to see the light flickering at the end of the tunnel. And so with each passing day, he filled his sketchbook with color, washing away the darkness that had threatened to overtake him for so long. The creative process became a lifeline, a quiet resistance against the loneliness that sought to claim him, and the act of drawing transformed into a testament of hope, signifying the simple truth that even in the darkest places, art has the power to break through, illuminating the path toward healing and reconnection. He might yet find a way to reclaim his story and share it with a world that still waited beyond the door. As the weeks turned into a seamless blur within the confines of his storage unit, Noah began to feel the shift of something awakening within him. The sketches that filled his pages transformed into vibrant reflections of his hopes and fears, each stroke infused with the colors of his imagination. Yet amid this artistic resurgence, a yearning for connection stirred deep in his heart, urging him to seek the lives beyond his own solitude. He longed to discover the stories behind the forgotten items that surrounded him, remnants of lives once lived, now abandoned like him. One evening, wrapped in the shadows of his cramped sanctuary, Noah found an antique trunk tucked away in the corner, hidden beneath layers of dust and old newspapers. Curiosity ignited within him as he carefully pried the lid open, revealing a collection of forgotten trinkets and memories. Old photographs slipped through his fingers, capturing smiles and moments long lost to time. A faded letter detailed a love once shared, its ink blurred by age and wear. Each item unfolded new layers of emotion, mirroring the feelings that churned within him. In that moment, he realized these remnants were echoes of stories of struggles and dreams that resonated deeply with his own. As Noah rummaged through the trunk, his fingertips grazed something cold and metallic. He pulled out a small tarnished key, its surface etched with wear and history. Immediately, he felt a powerful connection to this unassuming object, wondering what doors it could unlock, both literal and metaphorical. The key embodied possibilities, a gateway to exchange unspoken experiences with others who, like him, had once been lost but were waiting to be found. It became a symbol of his desire to bridge the gaps left by invisibility, urging him to explore the world beyond the confines of his storage unit. Inspired, Noah decided to combine his artistic pursuits with the fragments he uncovered. The key sparked the idea to create a series of drawings, intertwining the objects he had found with the emotions they evoked. He began crafting a visual narrative, a tapestry of hopes, grief, and resilience that echoed the essence of forgotten lives. Each artistic creation transformed into a testament to the power of shared experience, a silent invitation to anyone who would eventually witness his work. But even with this blossoming creativity, the shadow of fear lingered. What if the world outside remained just as indifferent as it felt before? What if he bared his soul only to be met with rejection? It was a heavy thought, but the brighter promise of warmth flickered within him, challenging the darkness that whispered discouragement in the quiet corners of his mind. Each passing day fed his resolve, as he infused both love and longing into his drawings, and as the sketchbook thickened with pages, Noah found himself yearning to share his creations. He envisioned taking his sketches to a place where others could see them, a community gathering or a corner cafe that welcomed artists and dreamers alike. The rhythmic cadence of life somehow reached him through the walls of his sanctuary, beckoning him to step forward into the world, where he could share not only his art but also the emotions simmering beneath the surface. At that moment, Noah gathered his sketches and the mysterious key and courageously pushed open the door of his storage unit, stepping into the world he had held his breath against for so long. The sun streamed through the narrow cracks in the buildings, illuminating faces and places he'd only imagined. Each step away from the shadows filled him with both exhilaration and trepidation, as laughter and chatter echoed through the streets, creating a symphony of life that enveloped him. Noah clutched the key and sketches close to his heart, hoping that they would serve as a bridge to connection. Summoning his courage, he scanned the area around him. With cautious steps, he approached the park that nestled nearby, a familiar place bursting with vibrant colors and the joyful sounds of children playing. He could feel the magnetic pull of possibility. This was his moment, a chance to share his journey and see if perhaps others too understood the longing and vibrancy hidden beneath layers of solitude. The key rested heavy in his pocket, a concrete reminder of the doors waiting to be unlocked, both within himself and in the hearts of others. Noah took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the fresh air, and felt alive, ready to explore the world beyond his solitude and begin a new chapter, a chapter forged by stories brought to life through art, connection, and shared humanity. As Noah stepped into the park, the vibrant atmosphere wrapped around him like a warm embrace. The laughter of children playing echoed through the sun-drenched space, an infectious melody of joy that made his heart race with a mixture of hope and apprehension. The myriad colors of flowers blooming along the pathways, the golden rays dancing on the surface of the nearby pond, all coalesced into a tableau of life pulsating with energy. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating, a moment he had longed for while ensconced in his hidden corner of the world. Noah walked slowly, absorbing the sights and sounds as if he were a painter, preparing to dip his brush into a vibrant palette. Each interaction he observed, every fleeting smile exchanged, felt like a piece of a larger puzzle that he had been desperate to understand. He noticed clusters of people gathering beneath the branches of a sprawling oak tree, where artists displayed their work, musicians strummed their guitars, and children played tag, chasing each other in delightful abandon. Though fear swirled within him like a tempest, he was drawn to the provisional gallery, where creativity thrived, igniting a profound sense of belonging deep in his chest. Holding his breath, he approached a small alcove where artists hung their pieces on strings, each vibrant canvas telling its own story through color and expression. He looked at the different styles, the fluid strokes of abstract art, the meticulous details of realism, and the whimsical imagery of fantasy, and felt a pang of kinship for the artists, their brushstrokes whispering of experiences not unlike his own. With trembling hands, he clutched his sketchbook and the key that sat uncomfortably in his pocket. This was the moment he had envisioned, the very essence of his dreams laid bare before him. Though anxiety prickled at the edges of his courage, he thought of his own drawings, the way they captured the intimacy of unshared emotions, how they held the essence of stories yearning for connection. And it was then that he decided to step forward, ready to unlock the doors that had long kept him isolated from the world. Gathering his resolve, Noah approached a booth where an older woman with warm, welcoming eyes exhibited beautifully textured paintings of landscapes and sunsets. She smiled at him, sensing the tremor of nervous energy radiating from his thin frame. Placing his sketchbook down upon her art display, he seized the opportunity to introduce himself, his voice barely above a whisper. I drew these," he stammered, opening the book to reveal the colorful pages filled with his vibrant depictions of his experiences. the emotions infused in every illustration spilling out into the world at last. The artist admired his work, her eyes glimmering with appreciation and understanding. "These are truly lovely," she said, her voice assuring, an anchor of kindness amidst his swirling thoughts. Noah felt a swell of warmth take root in his chest, encouragement igniting a spark of confidence. "What inspired you?" she asked, leaning closer. Noah hesitated for a moment, vulnerability washing over him like a tide. It's what I felt when I was alone. I wanted to capture those feelings, show that even in darkness there's color and hope." The confession slipped from his lips, raw and honest, exposing the fragile layers of his heart. As the woman listened intently, other artists and parkgoers began to gather around, drawn in by his authentic expression. They peered over his shoulder, captivated by the movement and emotion that radiated from his sketches. Each passerby nodded in recognition, their collective understanding resonating in silence. Among them, he felt a palpable connection, a sense of community that filled the gaps of isolation he had once clung to. Noah revealed the images of the key and the items he had found, drawings inspired by the memories encapsulated within those forgotten relics. "I found a key," he said, holding it up for them to see. "I think it unlocks stories. I want to tell them." In that moment, a profound stillness enveloped the group as everyone contemplated the significance behind his words. The key transformed into a beacon of hope, representing not just one boy's journey but an invitation for others to join him in unlocking their own stories as well. The older woman gestured for Noah to join her at her booth. "Why don't you hang one of your drawings here?" she suggested. Noah's breath caught, surprise washing over him. "Are you sure, huh?" he asked, astonished by the opportunity being extended. "Absolutely," she encouraged, her gentle smile reassuring. "You belong here just like the rest of us." With trembling hands, Noah selected a drawing, a vivid representation of the sun breaking through the clouds, symbolizing hope that existed even in darkness. As he hung it alongside her artwork, a wave of exhilaration surged through him, mingled with trepidation. He had taken a plunge into the unknown and emerged with an invitation to be part of something larger than himself. As the afternoon wore on, Noah continued to share not just his art, but snippets of his journey, intertwining laughter and raw emotions with those around him. Each connection drew him closer to the community he had yearned for, filling the vacant spaces left by fear and solitude. Conversations flowed effortlessly, creating a tapestry of voices that wove together diverse stories of struggle, resilience, and healing. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the park, Noah felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment coursing through him. The joy of being seen and heard, of living his truth openly, illuminated his spirit like the very colors he had painted. The key nestled in his pocket served as a reminder of the journey he had embarked upon, its symbolism deepening with every exchange. In that moment, surrounded by kindred souls, Noah realized that the true beauty of his art lay not just in the drawings themselves, but in the connections they forged. The vulnerability he had shown became a reciprocal bond, one that transformed solitude into solidarity, a shared understanding that blossomed in the warmth of accepting souls. He had arrived here not just as a boy seeking connection, but as a storyteller ready to harmonize his narrative with others, illuminating the power of compassion, creativity, and the unwavering spirit of resilience. The doors he had long feared would forever remain locked were now wide open, ushering in a future filled with possibility. As twilight settled gently over the park, Noah found himself enveloped in a warm atmosphere pulsating with life. The laughter of children merged with the soft strumming of guitars, weaving a harmony of joy that resonated deeply within him. Surrounded by the colorful displays of art, he felt the solitude he once knew begin to dissipate, replaced by a profound sense of belonging. Each face around him, illuminated by the ambient glow, reflected a shared understanding of struggle and hope, granting him a celebration of community he had longed for. Noah gazed at his drawing, the sun breaking through the clouds, a testament to finding light in the darkest moments, and marveled at how his art had transformed from private expressions into communal symbols of resilience. As conversations flowed, he became aware of the collective power of stories, how they could link strangers together in an invisible bond stronger than solitude. He had always wanted to be seen and understood, but now, amongst these kindred spirits, he felt valued, his narrative interwoven with theirs, creating a living tapestry of experiences. An elder gentleman approached him, a gentle smile illuminating his weathered face. "It's remarkable what you've created here, son. Your art has a way of inviting us in," he said, admiration evident in his voice. Noah felt a flush of pride wash over him as the gentleman continued. "Have you thought about sharing your story beyond this park? There's a world out there waiting to hear it." Noah's heart raced at the prospect. The thought of his art reaching others outside this moment felt exhilarating yet daunting. "I haven't," he admitted, glancing around at the gathering. "But maybe we should. Maybe we could create something together." The elder's eyes sparkled with encouragement. "That's a wonderful idea. Stories have the power to heal, to foster connections. Why not organize an art show that brings together your community, sharing not just your work but everyone's stories?" Energized by the suggestion, Noah envisioned the possibilities. The idea of an art show ignited a newfound excitement within him, a chance to bring together their diverse experiences under one roof. As he shared the idea with his friends, their enthusiasm became infectious. Each person contributed unique thoughts, rallying around a shared sense of purpose that transformed their individual stories into a collective endeavor. In the weeks that followed, the group collaborated tirelessly, pouring their hearts into the project. It was no longer just about Noah's artwork. It morphed into an initiative illuminating the lives and experiences of everyone in the park. Together, they crafted vibrant murals, painted intimate portrayals, and wrote down heartfelt narratives that would accompany their pieces, each representation suffused with the emotions that connected them. As the day of the art show approached, anticipation hung in the air. Noah moved through each final brushstroke and detail with a brimming sense of purpose, imagining the individuals and families who would come together, who would step into a space of understanding, empathy, and connection. He wanted to share the journey from loneliness to unification, from silence to song, a symphony of voices ringing out together. On the day of the art show, he felt a swirl of emotions pulsating through his veins. Attendees began to gather, an eclectic mix of familiar faces and strangers, all eager to experience the collective tapestry woven from their shared narratives. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting everything in golden light, Noah marveled at the sense of arrival filling the space. Children dashed about, laughter mingling with the sounds of conversations. An orchestra of voices resonating with stories of struggle, joy, and healing. Attendees interacted, exchanging their own narratives and sharing connections birthed from the vulnerability displayed in every piece of art. Noah watched as people wandered through the gallery, their eyes lighting up with recognition as they encountered the artwork. Conversations sparked and took flight, voices intertwining in appreciation of the emotions displayed. Every nod, every attentive gaze affirmed that these unwritten stories mattered, that the experiences carried through art bridged the gaps of solitude that once separated them. The elder gentleman who had inspired Noah appeared again, a look of pride on his face. "You've done something remarkable, son. You've not only shared your story but built a community that will uplift others with every word and every stroke of the brush." As the event reached its peak and the sun began to set, a glowing orb beneath the horizon, Noah stepped back to reflect on the night. It was a nexus of individuals intertwined in an embrace of understanding, each recognizing within the other that there existed a shared humanity that transcended initial loneliness. The key that had once represented Noah's fears now felt like a symbol of liberation. It unlocked not just opportunities but deep connections, an embrace of acceptance that spread like ripples across the fabric of their lives. Through his art, he had found not only his voice but also helped to guide others toward their own. In the closing moments of the show, standing together with his friends beneath the old oak tree that had held witness to their journeys, he felt gratitude surge within him. "Thank you," he said, his voice steady despite the tide of emotions swelling inside him. "You believed in me. You showed me that art and community hold the power to transform lives." They shared smiles and embraces, hearts aligned in the knowledge that their journeys, once solitary, had combined into a vibrant collective that would continue to inspire. They would hold each other up as they ventured into the future, knowing that the tapestry they had woven together would always remain vibrant and beautiful, embellished by the shared stories echoing at their edges. As the stars twinkled above them, Noah felt alive, no longer bound by shadows but thriving in the light of connections created through vulnerability and shared strength. With a heart buoyed by hope and a mind opened by inspiration, he was ready to embrace the journey ahead. A journey that began with one courageous step into the world, where voices were heard and stories shared infused every moment with love and understanding. The next morning, Noah awoke to sunlight streaming through his window, casting golden fingers of warmth across his room. The events of the previous day felt surreal, a vivid celebration of creativity and community. Sitting up in bed, he realized he had entered a new chapter of his life, one filled with promise and connection. As he glanced at his sketchbook, fresh ideas flooded his mind, waiting to be captured on paper. Eager to build on the energy from the art show, Noah began to sketch with purpose. He envisioned a mural, a tribute to the shared experiences that had united him with his friends and the community. This mural would serve as a canvas for collective stories, one that reflected the diversity and resilience he witnessed during their celebration. With each stroke of his pencil, he felt more energized. He was compelled to bridge their stories with vivid colors and striking imagery. He quickly reached for his phone, bubbling with excitement as he began to text the friends he had made. "How about we create a mural together? Let's tell our stories through art," he wrote, the prospect sending sparks of anticipation through him. Responses poured in, each filled with enthusiasm, and his heart swelled at the thought of coming together once more. They arranged to meet at the park, gathering under the old oak tree that had seen their shared journey unfold. As Noah looked around at their eager faces, he felt a profound sense of belonging. This community had become like family, and together they could create something beautiful to share with others. The conversation buzzed with ideas. Each person had a story to tell, a voice to reclaim through their art. With laughter and excitement, they brainstormed themes for the mural, each suggestion sparking further inspiration. Memories of struggles and triumphs surfaced as they envisioned the imagery that would adorn the walls: a boy flying a kite, friends sharing a picnic, hands reaching out in solidarity. Each person's narrative would intertwine, seamlessly blending into a vibrant celebration of unity. Days turned into a whirlwind of creation as they experimented with colors and designs, covering the park wall in strokes of hope and resilience. They painted together, forging stronger bonds with each shared laugh and story. Noah felt a deep satisfaction as the mural began to take shape, realizing it was more than just paint. It was a testament to their collective journey toward healing. One afternoon, while painting a section that depicted friendship, Noah paused to reflect on their progress. The mural blossomed with colors and images, each brushstroke resonating with the voices of everyone involved. He couldn't help but smile as he observed how passion transformed their work into an inspiring tapestry that celebrated the essence of belonging. When the mural neared completion, they decided to host a grand unveiling event, inviting the community to witness the fruits of their labor. As the day approached, excitement coursed through Noah and his friends. They sent out invitations, eager to share this vibrant narrative with others and strengthen the connections they had begun to forge. On the day of the unveiling, families and friends filled the park under the warm sun, their laughter mingling with the excitement in the air. Noah stood alongside his friends, nerves mixing with pride as they gathered before the mural that now painted the park's wall. The grand reveal felt like a celebration of not only their individual stories, but also the interconnected journey they had embarked on together. When the time came to unveil the mural, they tugged at the curtain, revealing a burst of colors and imagery that captivated the audience. Gasps of awe echoed among the crowd. The visuals shimmered like a beacon of hope, telling stories of resilience, connection, and creativity. Each spectator was drawn in, their expressions reflecting recognition and understanding. As people moved closer to the mural to absorb its details, Noah felt a warmth in his heart. Conversations sparked as attendees shared their interpretations of the art, unveiling connections to their own experiences. The shared narratives intertwined with those of others, creating a ripple effect of empathy that filled the park with energy. Among the crowd, the elderly gentleman who had first inspired Noah stood silently, watching with pride. Noah returned his gaze, feeling the weight of reassurance in the older man's presence. This mural had the potential to heal beyond the park's boundaries, offering a safe space for those who felt unseen, much like he once had. As dusk settled over the park, casting a warm glow, Noah stepped back to take in the scene. Families laughed, friends conversed, and strangers found common ground within the artistry displayed. He realized that the mural had become a living organism, breathing life into the community and intertwining stories that had once been solitary. In that moment of reflection, he was overwhelmed by gratitude. "Thank you all," he said aloud, his voice carrying through the crowd. "Today is a celebration of our stories, each unique yet intertwined. Together, we have created something beautiful that will resonate and inspire others." As cheers erupted around him, Noah felt the final release of any lingering shadows. He was no longer just a boy with a key. He was a storyteller, an artist, and a vital part of a greater narrative. A narrative filled with connection, understanding, and compassion. As the stars began to twinkle overhead, illuminating the gathering below, Noah understood that his journey had only just begun. The mural stood as a testament to the power of art and community to transcend isolation, welcoming every person seeking a place to belong. Together, they had opened the door to a world where voices mingled and stories intertwined in a celebration of life itself. In that warmth, he found an affirmation of his journey, one marked by courage, creativity, and the enduring spirit of connection. Noah was ready to embrace everything that lay ahead, knowing he was no longer alone but part of something magnificent. As days faded into weeks, the mural became a centerpiece of the community, a destination where people gathered to share stories, laughter, and insights. Noah found himself frequently visiting the park, not just to admire the artwork but to witness the connections it fostered. Children laughed as they played nearby, often pausing to gaze at the mural, absorbing its tales of hope. Noah's friends joined him regularly, their bond deepening as they reflected on their individual journeys and the transformative experience they had created together. Each meeting under the oak tree that had once symbolized their beginnings became a celebration of progress and healing. They shared ideas for future projects, brainstorming how they could continue to uplift the voices of those around them. One afternoon, as autumn leaves danced in the breeze, Noah was struck by an idea. "What if we host workshops?" he suggested to his friends. "We could teach art to kids and share our stories. It could help them express what they feel just like we did." Excitement buzzed among them. The thought of extending their impact ignited a sense of purpose. They rallied together, crafting plans for art workshops that would welcome children and teens from the community. They envisioned sessions that embraced creativity, where participants could use painting, drawing, and storytelling to express their emotions. As the vision took shape, Noah felt a rush of anticipation at the prospect of sharing what they had learned about connection and creativity. When the time for the first workshop arrived, the park buzzed with curiosity. Colorful posters adorned the walls, each showcasing the upcoming sessions and encouraging everyone to join. Noah greeted the children with a warm smile and open arms, welcoming them into a space of imagination and safety. As the workshop began, he realized how fulfilling it was to guide these young artistic souls. They painted freely, their laughter echoing amidst the vibrant colors. Noah felt alive as he moved among them, offering encouragement, sharing stories, and witnessing their creativity flourish. It was satisfying to see how the self-expression resonated with them, allowing their voices to emerge authentically from within. Encouraged, he invited her to join the group. With each brushstroke, she began to relax, revealing her vibrant imagination. As more children joined, Noah facilitated a space where each participant's story mattered. It wasn't just about the art, it was about unveiling emotions, building confidence, and fostering a community of support. As the workshops continued, the park became a hub of creation. Children returned, pouring their hearts into art, while forming friendships that transcended backgrounds. Noah found himself inspired by their resilience, realizing how powerful it was to create an inclusive environment where every voice was uplifted. One day, as they wrapped up another successful session, Noah's friends gathered around him, their expressions filled with pride. "You've created something beautiful here," one of them remarked. "We're making a real difference." The affirmation warmed his heart, yet he brushed aside any notion of personal achievement. "It's all of us together," he emphasized. "We have each other's stories to thank for this." As autumn transitioned to winter, the park took on a gentle hush, blankets of snow adorning the mural. But inside, the spirit of community remained vibrant. Noah organized a community art showcase to celebrate the children's creations, showcasing the artwork developed during the workshops. The showcase transformed the park into a winter wonderland, twinkling lights illuminating the evening and laughter ringing through the crisp air. Families came together, each one excited to witness the gift of creativity burst through collaboration and connection. When the night reached its pinnacle, Noah stood before the crowd, heart full of joy. "This isn't just an exhibition of art," he said, his voice steady. "It's a celebration of our stories shared. Every brushstroke echoes the laughter, struggles, and dreams of every child here. Together, we've created a space where voices can be heard and creativity flourishes without bounds." As applause rang out, Noah felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude wash over him. He had transformed from an invisible boy into a guiding figure, nurturing the spirits of others while connecting to the vibrant community that surrounded him. In those luminous moments under the winter sky, Noah embraced the realization that they had built something lasting, a legacy of creativity that would warm hearts and uplift spirits for many years to come. This was just the beginning, a continuation of a journey filled with love and connection, and Noah was excited to see where it would lead next, knowing that with every step he was never alone.